Someone's got to clean this crap up. Well, I got to clean this crap up. But look at the shop. What a disaster. I've just been in like an F it lately mood, and I've just been hammering out work on this car. So this is everything that unfolded in the last, 8 hours. All right, so we made it in with the subframe. We made it out with the whole front of the car. I got the bay coated with Raptor liner, sanded it a little bit. Let's get that nice textured finish on it. But this is just the first coat. There's a lot more to go. We're even gonna do up here. And we're gonna do the entire wells. All the areas that had little surface rust have been treated with POR15. If you guys don't know what that is, POR15. It is phenomenal stuff. Like I even did in here. What POR15 is, it's like the strongest rust bonding agent on the market. So I did the bottom of the fuel tank. I did the pinch welds. I did everywhere there was surface rust. And so like obviously the bolts and stuff like that, we're going to be replacing that kind of hardware. That's essentially what this had down here. So you sand it all off and then you treat it with POR15. So all this has been treated. Still got to do, like there's areas up here. Got to do those kind of areas. And on top of that, this whole rear sub has got to come out of the car. So you got to pull that out. I'll treat the whole body of the car, including pulling all the wheel wells out, treating all that. And then it'll get a coat of Raptor liner all the way across the underside of the chassis. So like this whole bottom. So what'll happen on these most cars, is the areas where it's got basically the slot welds, where they're welding each panel of the car together, they'll start to get surface rust on them. And so, especially too, even on where the pinch seams are, it'll because you got your fender liner here, and then all that moisture and debris and everything just starts piling up behind the fender liner, and then it'll sit there and it'll kind of eat away at the metal, which will create rust. Luckily, this whole car only has surface rust. Some of it's like a hair more than surface rust. I'll kind of show you here. I'll show you the worst of the areas, which is on the back. The worst of it is probably, if I can get my camera up in here, the worst of it's probably stuff like that. Like if you notice, so like the gas tank, I treated that. I treated the whole pinch seam on both sides. You guys can see that. And then some of the bracketry, but like here's another area. If you look up in there, that's more than surface rust. That's like starting to chew into the metal. All right, so we got the exhaust dropped. I moved it out of the shop. Thing is heavy. Don't remember them being that heavy, but we are going to, at this point, we're gonna pull off the damper. Look at that. Got a big tear in it. And we're gonna pull the drive shaft because we're swapping differentials. I still gotta drop the subframe.
Dusty.
Yeah, so if you guys take a look at this, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So, get you some light so you can kind of see in there. But mostly surface rust, you'll get stuff like this going on. See, this is the part where you grind it down and you treat it now. If you put POR15 on correctly, meaning you've ground the metal down, you got every bit of rust out, and you treat it, it's not gonna rust again. It's just that simple. That stuff is really that good. So now we're gonna double check. If you can see right through, you don't see anything connected, you should be in good shape. This is where you would come in and force it the rest of the way down. And first things first is I gotta torch these bolts out, because if those break, I'm gonna be pretty salty. So I don't want them to snap. So I'm gonna torch those. And then, so yeah, make sure, for those of you that have a car in good shape, make sure you unbolt those, because that is gonna be critical. But this, I mean, like, literally, it was rotted out anyway. I knew that already. So, also, if you're trying to do a fuel tank or you want to drop the fuel tank for any reason, this is your time as well. I'll tell you this car is getting a very, very serious fuel system, and the tank strap, there's one there, one there. I'm literally just going to lower it down like, I don't know, an inch. I would guess those bolts thread at least an inch, which will give me room to run hoses underneath. So, makes life a lot easier. But I'm gonna start grinding that guy. If you get the steel ones, they're even more aggressive. But what I'm gonna do is grind this all until it's just basically got a stain of rust residue left behind. It'll be almost bare metal. I'm gonna clean this whole area up, and then we're going to, like in here, I'm just gonna literally lather POR15 down in there, because you can't actually get in there. My advice to you to do on this is basically shoot a ton of acetone or brake cleaner up in there and dry it all out, and then blow it out with the hose, and then lather a bunch of, like, you know, POR15 or whatever you want to put in there. And then once you're done and the POR15 cures up, do not seal these holes, because the water needs to be able to drain out. So a lot of you guys in the south are like, why in the heck is this guy even talking about it? Well, you guys don't know what it's like in the winter up here. Now, this car is not really gonna see winter, which is good. So there's not gonna be any more rust, but in the springtime, you get a lot of salt on the roads, and there's nothing we can do about it because the rain has to wash it off. And on those nice March days, I will be damned if I'm not out ripping the car around. So I got everything ground down and cleaned up. Apologize about the flickering, it's a headlamp. If you guys are wondering, I'm just using the little cans just because I had a ton of these little cans. I bought like a bunch of the 6-packs of them, and they were just sitting around. But yeah, I mean, you don't got to clean everything up like immaculately, but anywhere you're going to coat it, because again, we're not coating the whole thing. We're just coating all the areas that are prone to get rust build up or surface rust. So we got the fans running a little loud, apologize, but we got her coated. So the way I do it, the worse it is, the heavier the coverage. Like this is super heavy coverage down in the wells here. And then when we get into some of the stuff that's just like barely rusted, see, it's just barely a coating on it. It's very thick, and then it starts to set up and it thins out. That's how it actually penetrates into the rust, which, like I said, this stuff works really, really well. So, got all the frame areas that I wanted to get. They're all coated. It gives you like a nice, like, shiny black look to it. So if you were to undercoat stuff with this, obviously you'll see like the rust texture, but it's very, very shiny, very glossy. So I don't care how it looks, because obviously we're painting over this. This is just a coat to seal it. And then we're gonna be doing my favorite stuff, which is Raptor liner. So I'm over here still looking like a goofball, but we got her coated. I just laid it in super thick. So I'm pretty stoked on it. Rear sub and front sub. So now I'm gonna get the Raptor liner spray, and then what I'm gonna be doing, because the whole goal of dropping that subframe was so that I could coat it. And you guys can't even take me seriously right now wearing this. Hilarious. I'm gonna be taking it off. I feel like a goof. We're gonna move that frame into the garage. We're gonna get the subframe out of the other car, bring it over and put it in here. But first, we're gonna have to bolt this subframe up because there's no way I'm wheeling that frame around this. So what I'm gonna do first is we're gonna finish up the bay. Bay, you guys like that accent? We're gonna finish painting. Oh, excuse me while I trip here. We're gonna do the rest of the fender wells with Raptor liner. And then we're gonna hit the bottom one more time. The reason I wanna get this done is so then when I bolt the subframe up, it's done, it's ready to go. This is not the furthest I've ever had a car torn down, but pretty close. Because the only thing left right now is literally the chassis. Good stuff. Oh, I keep moving faster than you guys, that's my fault. But we got the bay all ready for Raptor liner. You guys that follow the channel know it's my favorite stuff by far. Sanding it all down, and then I'm just doing a really quick sand. I'm not spending a ton of time on this. Raptor liner bites really, really good, and it bonds really strong like this. I didn't prep. I mean, I'm trying to pick it off. And then if you lick your finger and wipe, I mean, it's very hard to peel off, is what I'm saying. And it doesn't peel, it chips off. Long story short though, we're doing gray up in this area. And then at about probably this line down, it's gonna be black. These insills will be black as well. Reason being, if I use gray on the whole thing, it's just gonna get dirty, and anytime there's a leak or anytime anything happens whatsoever, it's gonna stain and look horrible. But up top here, you don't really have a lot of fluid staining, or at least you shouldn't. So I want it to look a little bit brighter than that. Check that out. I think it turned out pretty good. I don't know, I like it. Well, I forgot to make an outro. So you guys stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna be diving into the fuel system. We're gonna be doing some more work on the chassis. Lots of cool stuff to come. Hope to see you there.